Life is full of bad things. You might be surprised at how often you hear people say that something came out of nowhere, or was a complete surprise. But that's just not true. Many times when something bad happens, we could have seen it coming if only we had been paying attention. And yet, when bad things happen, it's easy to feel like they are random and outside our control, something that just happened because the universe decided it was time for us to have some bad luck. So what if there were an explanation for why bad things happen? What if they aren't really as random as they seem? Bad things happen to good people all the time. In times like these, we can feel disconnected from each other. We can't help but wonder how something so horrible could happen to us, good people in a good place with good intentions. It seems inconceivable that the world would let such things happen to us and those we love, and maybe it is inconceivable, maybe we just don't understand what's going on in our lives right now or why these awful events keep happening. But there are ways to cope with these feelings of uncertainty and helplessness, and one way is by embracing the idea that bad things happen not just to bad people but also good ones, and sometimes even neutral ones. When bad things happen, it might help us know that they don't just happen randomly or because of chance. There's usually some sort of cause for them, even if it's not immediately evident. And when something happens that doesn't seem fair or makes no sense at all, it helps knowing that these sorts of events have happened throughout history and will continue happening until the end times hit us head on. This gives us hope. If other people have gone through similar experiences before me, then maybe I'll be able to get through this too. You may have heard the phrase bad things happen to everyone, but how many of us actually believe that? Bad things are something we often believe to be reserved for other people. We think that if we're smart enough and work hard enough, we'll avoid any and all unpleasantness. However, this is simply not true. Life isn't fair, no one has ever said it was. No matter who you are or where you come from, bad things will happen to you eventually, no matter what. If they haven't happened yet, they will eventually. If they did happen once upon a time in your past and haven't since then, which is unlikely, rest assured, they will still most likely do so at some point in your future. Bad things are part of life. They're not something that exists independent of your existence, or the existence of anyone else on the planet. They can be good, they can be bad, they can be both at once. But if you think about it long enough, it becomes clear that nothing is ever just one thing, everything has many sides and layers to it. And this applies to bad things as well as good ones, if you look at them closely enough, and when you're ready, they begin to look different from what we originally thought them to be. The thing that everyone seems to want to know is, why can't I be happy? The answer may surprise you, because happiness isn't something you can achieve in a vacuum. It's not like there is an objective standard of happiness that we all have to meet, but most of us are just falling short. If this were true, then the average person should be perfectly happy all the time, and they're not. There are plenty of things that happen in our lives that make us sad or frustrated or angry or anxious, and these things happen whether we want them to or not, which should inspire some sympathy for those less fortunate. But even if life isn't fair and there are many times when good people suffer through no fault of their own, there are also plenty of times when bad people take advantage of other people's misfortune for their own gain. So how do we reconcile this seeming injustice? How can you find the good in any situation when everything seems so bleak? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have this constant glow about them? It's not just because they're naturally happy people. It's because they have learned how to tap into their natural energy and use it to create a life of joy, peace, and abundance. Learning how to make happiness inevitable is one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Happiness is energy. Energy is happiness. The more you have, the more you're able to do, and the more you do, the happier you are. Happiness is a choice that we make every day. We can choose to be happy or sad, it's entirely up to us. Happiness is always here and now. It's not a destination but a journey. You don't have to wait until you get your dream job, have kids or buy that new house before you can be happy. You can start right now by accepting what is and being grateful for it. Happiness is not a goal but a way of life. It isn't something we get when we are successful, but rather something that helps us achieve our goals along the way. Happiness is always possible no matter what happens. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is a decision. You have to choose happiness every day. I hope you found this useful and thought-provoking. If you have any thoughts on the subject, please do share them in the comments below.